Hi everybody, so today I'm going to transform into my favourite Avenger and the first person I ever cosplayed as at Comic Con, Black Widow, aka Natasha Romanoff, and that should definitely have been the other way around. So this is my final Avengers look and I couldn't be more excited to be ending with my favourite. So I'm starting out with the NYX Eyebrow Gel in shade Chocolate. Mine was starting to dry out, so I mixed it in with a little primer to create it to be a bit more fluid, which is why it might not be as dark as yours if you have this shade. I'm using the angled eyebrow brush from NYX for this, and then I'm carving that shape with the PLouise Rumour base in shade 2, which is what they class as their universal shade, but they do have a much wider range. And I'm patting that product right in there, firstly carving the shape out and then doing it all over the lid, in between the brows and even on top of the eyebrow to create the shape of Natasha's eyebrow rather than following my own natural brow shape. Whilst I do this, I just want to take the time to say thank you to everybody who has been supporting me, all my new subscribers, hey, and thanks for joining me on this journey. And yeah, this is the final look of lockdown really for me, because I go back to work on the 1st of August, but I will be back filming when I can different makeup looks, and I'll also be preparing for my Halloween series. So now I'm just blending this all out with a Morphe eyeshadow brush before going in with a Revolution eyebrow pencil. This is an eyebrow duo because it has the spoolie on the other end, and this is in dark brown. So I'm just getting some definition with brow strokes, creating little hair strokes and getting that definition under the eyebrow and creating more of the shape of Natasha's eyebrows rather than myself. And now I'm brushing that out with the spoolie. Now to create the other eyebrow. Now I'm going in with the Carnival XL Pro palette and a Peaches and Cream small eye detail brush with the shade Vex. Natasha's eyes are more deep set than my own and they are slightly hooded, so I'm going in with this muted grey brown shade to create a separate shadow to what my natural eye shape is. It will make it appear more deeper set, and I'm going in just above my natural crease to do this. I'm making sure I keep it quite rounded, and then I'm taking an even smaller detail brush with the black shade on it, which is called Lights Out, and I'm just going right into my socket with that, and then blending Vex back on in with the Lights Out shade, just to make my socket appear deeper and to create a slightly hooded appearance to my eye. And then I'm doing the same on the other eye and just keep blending until it all looks seamless. I've gone back in with some of the PLouise base here and patting that on the brow bone, so it brings the brow bone forward by highlighting it more, so it looks like it makes the eye appear even more sunken in compared to the eyebrow, which is exactly what I needed to do to get that Natasha look. Now I'm going in with the shade Pillow Talk, which is a matte white shade, and I'm using that to just feather out all of those edges. I'm using a Harry Potter wand brush, I think it's the Elder wand. And I'm just putting that on the inner corner as well. Now I'm going in with shade Vex again and just going underneath the eye with this. You can choose to prime under the eye or use the PLouise base, but I just went straight in and put it on my skin directly. I'm just darkening that Vex shade from the outer corner into the inner corner ever so slightly, then going back out with Pillow Talk again to blend that out. Going in with the Barry M Take a Brow in clear, I am just setting my eyebrows into place. And I'm taking my eyelash curlers, these are some rose gold ones from Primark, and I am clamping that but pumping it as it's on the lashes, just to give it that extra lift, because I'm not going to use false lashes for this look. Going in with the Maybelline Colossal Volume Mascara in, I think it's called Extreme Black. And I'm coating those lashes. Wiggling it from side to side helps to separate lashes, then I curl the brush and twist it as I apply to add extra curl to my lashes, and then I use the very end of the brush to the inner corner lashes, trying to coat them all. And then don't forget the bottoms. Everybody loves a mascara face. Going in with the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. This is classed as a skin booster, complexion booster, and I actually have quite a dark shade for me because my body is tanned. So I'm just applying this with a Morphe face brush. It's quite a stippling brush, and I'm applying this to the high points of my face, and then I'm going in with the NipandFab Foundation in shade 10, which is much paler than my skin at the moment on my body, and I'm blending this out with the PC04 brush by Peaches and Cream. I'm using a lighter skin tone because Natasha is not tanned in Endgame, so I'm going for that pale skin tone to make it more authentic. Starting out with the light coverage and adding more when needed. Patting it in and then blending it out. And then do the same down my neck. And you can see now the difference between my body colour and my neck colour. Now we're going in with the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define in the Supersize in shade C1 to highlight under the eye, on the cupid's bow, the nose and around the T-zone of the forehead. And I'm using a Marble Makeup Company beauty blender which has been dampened to blend this in, and I'm dragging that up onto the temples as well and down onto my smile lines ever so slightly. I'm blending that all in. Make sure the entire nose is highlighted down the centre, and even the end of my nose is highlighted in a more round shape than normal to create a slightly different nose shape. And then I'm going in with an angled face brush by Eco Tools with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Powder Bronzer in shade Cappuccino to contour my nose into a different shape. I need it to be nearer to Natasha's than my own. So I'm drawing darker lines, I'm not blending them as much, and then I'm doing a line across the tip of my nose to create it to be more defined, and then doing the same shading underneath the nose as well. And then I'm doing some contouring under my bottom lip because she has much fuller lips than my own, rounding my face shape ever so slightly by applying contour all the way across my jawline including my chin, and then I'm only lightly contouring my face because her skin is quite natural in the film. And then doing it on the high points of the forehead too. And then blending all that together with that beauty blender again. Now I'm adding in some definition around the smile lines of my face. So Scarlett Johansson is older than me. She does have deeper set lines around her mouth than I do, and her cheeks stand more prominently forward because of her face shape. So I needed to ensure my face looked as similar to hers as possible. So adding in this detailing really helped. And then I did the same under the eyes because in the film she's got slightly darker under eyes, and I've obviously concealed a lot of mine away, but it's more definition she has. So I applied some of that bronzer under the eye, squeezing the tip of my brush and then blending that out with the beauty blender and that same brush, just to give that slightly hollowed out, tired appearance. Going in with my MAC Powder Plus Foundation in shade NW20, using that same beauty blender. I'm just using that under the eye, in between that line that I've just created, like either side of it, to highlight the other area so it stands out more. Now I'm doing the same across my mouth area and the sides of that line around the mouth to make it stand out more. And I'm applying that to the nose and the centre of my forehead just to mattify it all and make it look more highlighted. That is a different shape. I'm then doing the same above the eyebrow because she has more prominent eyebrows than I do. I'm just applying this also on the edges of my face underneath my contour. Now I'm going in with a MAC limited edition face brush and using the sleek blush by 3 in Pink Lemonade. I'm using the shade Macaroon and then the darker shade which I can't remember the name of to warm that skin tone up. She doesn't have much bronzing, which has quite a lot of like blush, and I'm setting my areas with the RCMA No Colour Powder with a Real Techniques face brush. Using a Primark Beauty lip liner. This was in a lip kit, so it hasn't actually got a shade name. I'm going in and overlining my lip line. So you have a lip line which is the colour of your lips, and then a lighter shade one above it. I am using my lighter shade one to overdraw, and then I've also put a line on my bottom lips where I want it to appear fuller. I'm now going in with a Forever Living lipstick in shade Guava. These are no longer available, these are discontinued, which is a really light nude, and then I'm setting this with RCMA powder as it is quite moisturising and I need it to be more matte. Going in with that lip liner again just to re-add the definition, and then going in with a tiny bit of concealer on a lip brush just to highlight above my lips to make the top lip appear more prominent, which makes it appear fuller, because for every shadow you want to add a highlight. And then we're going in with the shade Fairplay from the Carnival XL Pro palette, which is a highlight shade, and on the tops of my cheekbones I'm highlighting the tip of my nose, my cupid's bow, and the bridge of my nose into the shape of which my new nose shape is. Now I made sure my hair hadn't been washed, that's why it looks so gross on camera, because I needed it to stay in shape. So I didn't want to wash it and then need to apply loads of product to it. So first of all I created a rough section at the front where I needed a quiff to be, and a side braid in a little while, and put that in a ponytail for the time being, and then I proceeded to plait the rest of my hair in a side plait and just secure that with the hair tie, which is holding the front of my hair in place. Then all I'm doing is twisting that front bit back and creating a small quiff, securing it with a bobby pin, and then braiding or plaiting that piece of hair, and then we're going to secure it in place with another pin around the back of my head. This is the hair she had in the end game for some scenes, and this is the look I chose to go with. I'm following the picture I have in front of me. Now I've gone in with the Rodial Beauty Smokey eye pen, which is actually a eye pencil, and filled that in on my waterline, and then I've gone in with a more berry toned lipstick. This is from Collection. It is old, which is why I don't use it on clients, I use it on myself, and I absolutely love it, but I don't think they do it anymore. But any darker pink lip tone will go, and it just made it more her shade. Then I'm using a sleek eyeliner, just an eyeliner pencil in black, to carve out the shapes of her outfit, catsuit, whatever you want to call it. First of all doing the neck detailing where the collar is and the gap in her suit, and then I'm doing the shoulder pads, and then I applied a small beauty mark on my cheek where she has a mole on her face. Adding these small details is what really helps you captivate that character. Study their face, study what they look like, and really try and replicate that. So I'm adding all the strap detailing, and then I did the same on the other side, and then I mixed my Mehron Paradise paint in black with a tiny bit of the white, and so it's a super dark slate grey, just on a fairly large body painting brush, and I'm filling in all those what would actually be black areas dark grey, just because she has even blacker areas on her suit which are like leather, so to make the fabrics contrast you can't paint it all black. So if you use a super dark grey and then a black for the leather, you'll be able to see the contrast and it will help make it pop more. So first of all, the normal mesh kind of material she has on her suit I'm doing with the slate grey. The concentration on my face. I always want to make sure my paints aren't too watery, so I actually use a spray bottle with water in it and just do a couple of squirts at a time into my paint so that it gets a nice thick even coverage. And constantly looking at that reference image. You want to keep your lines also trying to go the same way as what they would carve, like shape to your body. so that when the paint sets down, if there are any brush strokes, it looks like that's just the way the light reflects off it, and it will sit on your body that way as an outfit. So rather than side to side strokes, you want to go in vertical kind of motions and follow the contours of the different shapes. I look so disapproving of my own work whilst I'm painting. I absolutely love my concentration faces. And fill in that neck collar. Here I am using a more defined brush, and I'm using the black tone to fill in those leather details, and on the shoulder pad she also has a seam which needs to stand out, so it needs to be painted in pure black. And now I'm outlining different areas and filling in all those leather strap details. So there's a lot of little leather details on the chest area of this design, so I'm outlining them before going back in with that slate grey colour. And on the arm pads I'm filling in all those leather details around the outside and across the centre. As you can see, there's not that much of a shade difference, but it really makes the two colours pop, so you can tell the difference between the two fabrics. And then you want to do the same on the other side. If you didn't know already and you're a bit of a Marvel fan, you'll be excited to know that the new Marvel film, which is actually all about Black Widow, is being released in November of this year, which I'm super excited about because I love her. I want to know more about her. I want to know everything. So this film is going to be great. So I decided that I needed to use an even lighter grey tone to make this stand out more. On camera, in person I could tell the difference, on camera it was harder, so I mixed slightly more white in with the black paint, and I went back over those grey areas on one side and filled in them fresh on the other. Just gave that extra contrast, which made it easier to see on camera. To make my hair look more red toned, it helps that it wasn't washed, and it also helps that I'm using, on my ring light, I'm using 2 white filters and 2 orange filters. I have the plastic filters that clip on, so I've got 2 of each, and this just created a slightly red cast to my hair, even though my hair is actually like blonde. So it really helped give me that Natasha Endgame hair vibe. Using a smaller flat brush, I am filling in that fabric between the 2 small leather strips. Gotta get those details. And now we're going in with the buckles on the shoulders. First of all with the black, and then we'll be going in with a light grey. So now I've gone in with a long liner brush and my white Mehron paint to add highlights. So to make it stand out even more, I highlighted around all the leather straps and added highlights on the leather straps too, and then blended them out with my finger slightly to give that slight reflective look that leather has. Adding highlights makes everything look really 3D when you've already added contrasting colours to an outfit. Because most of the outfit is dark grey and black, you can't really add contouring that would show up, so you need to rely heavily on highlights to make that 3D pop happen. The lines don't have to be fully solid, they can fade in and out as you run out of paint. It will still help it look more realistic, and then you can add in small lines that you can blend with your finger on the details just to make them appear even more 3D and slightly shiny. I also used the same white paint around the zip to add extra detailing, and then the small line at the very centre of my chest bone, I created a black line and then used white dots asymmetrically, like they're not like diagonally from each other, just to make it look more like a zip. Now I'm using the end of a paintbrush rather than the brush end, the end of it, and dipping it into my black paint and just creating dots all over that grey fabric on the chest areas, because I wanted to create dimension. It has got a pattern to the fabric, so I wanted to create that best I could, and I knew eyeshadow wouldn't show up and it'd be so hard to replicate the pattern exactly, so I'm using the tip of my brush and then going in and creating dots with it. I soon switched around to a slightly larger brush and actually using the brush end to fill in the gaps on the shoulders, because these angles are much harder to do with the tip of the brush. I needed some flexibility. I've now gone back in with the long liner brush and the white Paradise paint just to add highlights to these little pockets I've created. This just makes the holes a bit more 3D and adds more dimension to that texture of the outfit. As I said before, every shadow needs a highlight really. And then I'm going in and curling my lashes again, just because I think because I'm not wearing falsies I need to make them extra dramatic. And then we go in with another coat of that mascara. But you want them to stand out. Going back in with that highlighter again just to add an extra bit of shimmer, and I also added to my collarbones and then slightly on the breast area. I also went back over the face mold ever so slightly with a tiny dab of black paint. Just blending those lines out that I've developed on my neck from looking down having that paint on, and then I'm using a flat eyeshadow brush and the shade Vex just to create some shadows to make it stand out. I want to do it around the edge of the costume where shadows would naturally fall, and on the collar too, just to make it look more 3D, and then adding a slightly cooler dimension to the cheekbones just to make them pop ever so slightly, and same to the shape of the nose, because cool tones do help create better shadows. Then adding that dimension into the Cupid's bow area and just in the dimple area of the face as well. And that is the look complete. So to make this last all day at a con, you want to set that in place with some fixing spray. My favourite is Krylon. This helps it protect it from smudging or rubbing off if you get too hot. And then you want to spray the hair with your favourite hairspray. I use the VO5 because it smells of coconut, and that is so much nicer than normal hairspray. So this is the final look. I hope you liked it as much as I did. And if you want to see more of my Avengers series, go check out my channel, subscribe, click the little bell notification, and if you want more content, follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. Thank you!